Hello, everyone, wherever you are tuning in. Welcome to the Speak Out Show, a program of Move Network International, where we amplify honest conversations on mental health, resilience, purpose for young people right here in Uganda and also all around the world. And we have an honor today that we have a gentleman, a very amazing gentleman, all the way from Ohio, USA, right? I guess Ohio is a state. Yeah, in the
Yes, it is.
USA. Yeah. And he's going to be discussing an amazing topic. Personally, as an individual, I find the topic very interesting, very fascinating, because it is something that not so many people talk about. We've heard a lot about empowering young ladies. We've heard about empowering women, but no one ever talks about the men. And
Right.
today we are honored that we have Eric, who is going to be talking about emotional regulations and healthy coping strategies for men. So if you're a man, this is yours to watch. Please share it widely and also invite other people to be a part of this. So without wasting any further time, I'm going to invite Eric to introduce himself before we can dive straight into our questions for today. Yes, please, Eric. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm Eric King. I am a licensed professional clinical counselor. What that basically means is that I went to school for a lot of years and paid a lot of money to listen to people and to allow those people to, give me the honor of supporting them. So, in the mental health field, I've been in the mental health field for roughly 20 years.
Wow.
So
Wow. Wow.
I've had the opportunity to work in many different settings with a wide range of people.
Hmm. Have you worked with Africans before? Just
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I've worked with Africans before. I've worked internationally, supporting other organizations
hmm
in Kenya. I think it's one other organization in Uganda that has worked with children.
hmm
So I've had the opportunity to work with a wide variety of people and personalities and cultures, ethnicities and whatnot.
Wow, that's great. I'm excited that at least you've worked with Africans before. So I am very certain that the conversation you're going to be having today is going to cut across all of us here in Africa and even those that are beyond the continent of Africa. So diving straight into our first question for today. So, Eric, emotional regulation isn't something many men are taught growing up. Yeah. So, from your experience, how do men usually learn to deal with emotions, and where does that approach fall short in our daily lives?
Yeah. So that first part, where do we learn it? We learn it from our
Yeah.
environment, right? So first, when we're, born, everything that we know is from our place of birth, right? Our
Yeah.
parents, our siblings, right? And then it radiates from there, depending on who you are and how you are, or how big your community. So that first question is, we learn it initially from our family of origin. Next, who we are connected to. And then let's be real, since we are in a global society now, social media, TV, before social media, newspapers, books, they all told men how to be men. Even
Yeah.
before, let's be real, before we knew how to talk and how to, use that definition. Um, or the definition of a man, so to speak. And then that second part, I'm sorry, what was the second part again? Just so I make
Yes.
sure I hit it again.
How do men usually learn to deal with emotions? Yeah, and also the last part would be where, as they are dealing with the emotions, how where exactly do they fall short?
Yeah, we fall short as men in one, understanding. that we're human. So
Yeah.
when we have emotions, we have to first remember we're human, and every aspect of our emotions are human, and we're not superhuman, despite what we may think or what we may be told. So that's where we fall short first. Second is this understanding of our emotions as if we can control them. We can't control them because we are human. They come. Only thing we can do is manage the behavior that comes from emotions. So when those emotions come or we're triggered in those emotions, how we behave is literally the thing that we can manage. And so that's where we fall in short. And then the other part is in community. Let's be real. Men don't do great jobs of being in community with other men from a healthy
That is
standpoint.
very true.
Right?
Very
So
true.
if we are not in community with one another from a generational or hierarchical, right? So a generational aspect of what did my grandfather say and great grandfather say about emotions, where they are in dealing with their emotions and how they communicate. And then from a hierarchical, if we're looking at it, from a, top down, are we as heads of our families and heads of our organizations
Yeah.
connecting with those up underneath us in a healthy way from an emotional standpoint. And to be honest, I fall short, and we all going to fall short because we are humans, but we do have to make it aware. We got to come, be aware that we're falling short and we need to do better.
But don't you think that sometimes men don't want to actually show people that they don't want to express the emotions actually? They kind of suppress it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And we're taught
Yeah.
that. I mean, let's be real. We're taught that if we show any form of weakness, we are we're a victim or we are a target. And no man wants to be a target. No one wants to be
Yeah.
a target. And what I find is this is universal. So this isn't just in the United States. This is in London. This is in Africa. This is in, every country in Africa. This is everywhere, to where we're socialized in this way to suppress or hold our emotions as if we're superhuman.
Yeah. So that is very true because those are things that we actually live with. Yeah. So the other thing is what are the most common emotional struggles you think men face today?
Yeah, man. I think wow. If I had to put it, at the top, unfortunately, it's the security of our family, right? That is one of the most,
Mm,
for men, the most emotional struggle. Not because we're not strong enough. Men are strong, right? So we have strong minds, we have strong bodies, we are very strong. But that idea of protecting those that we love, protecting those that are up underneath us, whether it's economic, right? So making enough
yeah.
money, right? So that's one.
Yes.
Whether is mentally, right? Being mentally stable to hold up everybody and deal with what everybody is dealing with, or whether it's physical. Can I continue to move forward? And how am I doing physically? And then spiritually, no matter what spiritual discipline or religious discipline, we are spiritual beings. We all have different religious, affiliations, but at the
Very
heart of
true.
it, we are spiritual beings. And that is the most difficult thing. Being a secure man is one of the
Yeah.
most emotional struggles in being a male.
Yeah. I think that is very true. So here you talked about the spiritual part of it. Here in Africa or in Uganda specifically, like from the church where I come from, there is a whole ministry actually that for men specifically that is there to just support men. Yeah, with regards to that. So I think yeah, it is very very true and very important. Yeah. So many men actually cope through silence, overworking. Usually that's how they want to cope up with things. Like you mentioned earlier, that they don't have um hello. Yeah. Oh, I'm here. So yeah, I was saying that. like you mentioned earlier that usually men don't belong to a certain community. They are so it's mainly they are loners, and so when they're trying to cope up, they cope up with silence, overworking themselves, or sometimes substance. Like for my sake, my own dad decided to use substance, and he became an alcoholic and or isolation. So why is it so difficult for men to openly talk about emotional pain?
Yeah. I think it's so, and to your point with your father, cope, we're going to cope. Either you're going to cope in a healthy way or you're going to cope in a unhealthy way. And I
Mm,
think it's so difficult because we're told, a lot of times that what how we feel doesn't matter. And we're also told and taught that if we feel something, something is wrong with us. Men are and it's not just men, but if we're just speaking about men specifically, we're definitely projected or told what we can and cannot feel and how we should and should not be at a very early age, like I spoke. And so when we have all that big feelings on the inside and that natural feelings on the inside, we're going to suppress it if it's
yeah,
outside of our talk or what we're supposed to do. Now, this is the problem. Just like anything that you suppress, just like anything that you push down that has life, that has energy, is going to, either destroy the vessel, which is destroy our bodies, our soul, our spirits, our mind, right? Or is going to
yeah,
lash out, right? And it's going to go out and harm others. And that's what we see. And that's what we do. We're either going to destroy ourselves or we're going to
hmm,
destroy others if we don't allow our emotional fluidity. Let's be real, just to flow, right? That's,
yeah,
a lot of cultures and a lot of, spiritual disciplines see emotions as water. And it's just what it is. If you have too much water, you're going to drown. If you have not enough water, you're going to dehydrate and, possibly die. So just looking at emotions as water, if we look at it from that standpoint, we have to emotionally regulate in a healthy way, just like we do everything else in our world.
yeah. I think that is very important because I have, like I mentioned earlier, I've seen my dad go down the rabbit hole, like, and he ended up wasting a lot of his time and a big part of his life. And the problem is that it as a man and also as the head of the family, it does not only affect him as an individual. Yeah, because he's the head, and so it trickles down. Just like you've been actually explaining. So it trickles down to the rest of the family. So and it is very important that I think men should learn to regulate their emotions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that trickle down thing is amazing because we really truly believe that if we got it together, everybody get it together, when in reality, we're part of getting everybody together.
Hmm.
And, at times we're forgotten on certain aspects. And so the more that we can talk about this thing, the better, just the better it gets overall.
Yeah. Yeah. That is very true. So moving on. So for a man that is listening in to us right now, who feels overwhelmed, who feels emotionally reactive or shut down. And there are so many of them that are like that. Yeah. Right now. What are the three practical coping strategies you think they can apply in their lives?
Yep. So the first thing I always tell is to, every morning you wake up, pick only three things to do. When you're feeling that overwhelmed, pick three things to do. And a lot of times we as men, we feel as though if we wake up and our only worth is productivity. And what I like to say is when, one of the practical coping skills when someone is feeling overwhelmed or we're getting them to emotionally regulate, first, physically pick only three things to do. Second thing that I would do, take 5 to 15 minutes a day to just be silent, right? Whether it's taking a walk, whether it's to, eat, healthy food alone, just be silent. And then the next thing is, no matter what spiritual discipline you are, the concept of meditation, prayer, or whatever have you is something that should be
Yeah.
done daily, right? So if
Yes.
you are a
Yes.
meditator,
Yes.
you don't have to go to a single room, meditate. You can sit and meditate, in your chair while the TV is on, or you can pray while the TV is on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
those are the best, the three things that I say. One, first, break your day down in 3 points, right? Take the top three things of your day and deal with it. You only get 24 hours. You don't get any more than 24
Yeah.
hours, right? So pick
Yeah.
those top three things. Second,
So you know specifically what you want to do for the day.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Know specifically, be intentional, know exactly what you want to do, and don't worry about doing anything else, right? Just do those three and allow yourself the next day. Take 5 to 10 minutes to yourself of a walk, of peace, of gathering, right? And then next, daily meditation and daily prayer. And, the last thing, let's be real, drink water, eat,
Yeah.
and sleep well. Those are the three. Those are, sleep well, eat well, drink water. Though, that's it.
I think that is very important. Uh, most men, when most men are overloaded with emotions and very stressful, they run away from food, they run away from people. So I think they should take that very seriously. Yeah, and yeah, and it will be very very helpful. So I would like us to talk about the roles of other people, other men in our lives as men. So, what roles do you think trusted friends or mentors or partners or professionals should play in helping men actually regulate emotions in a healthy way? But also, sorry, before you continue, I have also realized that most men actually do not have mentors in their lives. So I was saying that as you're trying to answer that question, we should start from one, men should first get mentors or people they can actually talk to. Yeah, let's go ahead.
So first thing men need, we need a group of truth tellers. And what I mean by that is those men that have the ability to be genuine, and be open to us, and we can go to being open with. A
Yeah.
truth teller is someone that both understands that they have holes or blind spots, or fallible, and they can learn from themselves, and they can also learn with others. And so we
Mm.
men need more truth tellers, more groups of people to be honest, less showy, less stereotypical of what, of and passing down of what men are supposed to be. We need more of those, right?
Yeah.
We need more, councils of men that are there to uplift one another rather than to use or get something from one another, right?
Yeah.
Because men to men can be very predatory, especially when the ego, or you feel as though somebody is trying to get up on you. We got to
That
get
is
away from
true.
those people. Right. We got to get away from those people, man.
That is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very true. So how can men? How do you think men should build emotional resilience without feeling like they are losing their identity? Since we have just handled that question, and all are all losing their authority or sense of strength.
Yeah, that's the hard one, man, because once you find some realities about yourself, man, it's really hard to build yourself up. So what I would say to that is, find your true purpose, find your true self. And when you find your true self and your true purpose, a lot of the acting goes away, right? When you are around a group of people that enjoy you for you being you, you pull your mask off. So that's one. Second, you have to, that resiliency, you have to know that you're human. That means
Yeah.
every emotion that you have, you're supposed to have that. And anyone that tells you what you're supposed to be, emotionally, are the ones that you should get away from. And then lastly, you lift others up, and you encourage them to lift you up. There are two things that humans have an issue with. One is asking for help. Two is receiving that help. So when
Yeah.
you ask for help and then allow yourself to receive help from those that really truly care about you.
Yeah, I think that is very important. Honestly, that is very important because when I speak for myself, I think as a man, that is one of the hardest thing to do, trying to go and ask for help because you don't want to look weak. Yeah, you don't want to look weak before people, and so what happens is that you end up suppressing everything inside, and so you're dying alone basically. You're dying alone. Yeah, and I believe that is very important for us to take note of. So back to your work and from your own personal experiences, yeah, with working with men in different groups in different areas within the world. What gives you hope as an individual, and what do you believe men need to hear mostly about emotional health today?
Yeah. What gives me hope is that I'm talking to, you in Uganda, right? That gives me hope, man. I'm in Ohio
Yeah.
and, Northeast Ohio at that, where LeBron come from. That's where everybody know LeBron
Wow,
James,
LeBron
right?
James.
Right, right, right. So what
Yeah.
gives me hope is that, what do we need? Is that about right? Was that the
Yeah.
next part?
Yes, yes. As men,
We,
what do men
yeah,
need to hear mostly?
yeah. I think what we need more than anything else is to recognize that we're everything that we are and everything that we feel is natural and we're supposed to feel that way. The moment we try to suppress shame, try to suppress doubt, we try to suppress sadness or happiness, and we move into other ways of coping, with that thing, rather than just literally just saying, "I am sad, I feel shameful," because even to yourself, we need to recognize that everything that we're going through is human. And then the second thing or the last thing that we need to do is to be better in community. Like seriously, just I know, I know I keep repeating this, but you will only grow up and grow into who you will be by what you see. If you see a lot of toxicity, if you see a lot of men acting like men, the history is strife with on many continents of men acting like men while at the
Yeah,
same time harming societies, harming
exactly.
cultures, harming ethnicities that look just like you, right? All in the name of malehood or dominance or what I'm supposed to be doing. And so, that last thing, we need to be better in community. We need to be better in connection with other people.
Yeah. Wow, that is very great. That is very, very important. Actually, if I can give a reference of what you just shared from there's an American movie actually, so of Black Americans acted the movie, and they were trying to show, I don't remember the title very well, but they were trying to show that what adults do and show their young ones is what they will eventually do later on. So they were showing all these adults who were into gangs and fighting with the law, fighting with the police, and eventually it became too much that even the little boy in a home one time stole his father's gun and pointed it at those who had come to beat his father. Yeah, and so they were trying to show that what you do as a man, especially as a man, actually, in that movie, they're showing that what you do as a man is what your little boy, all little kids will also see, and they will eventually become that. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that is very important that we as men lead in society, we lead in community, and we 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 become better examples, basically. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So as we wind up our discussion for today, if you could leave the men that are watching, or even the women. I know some women will watch this. If you could leave those that are watching this episode with one mindset shift about emotions and coping mechanisms that could genuinely change how they live and and how they lead in their communities, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a hard one. And I guarantee if it's anything like America, you're gonna get more women that watch so that they can learn about men than men watch to learn about other men. But that's besides the point. So, wow. If there's one thing that I can say to help men, one, be better men, and two, be better men to other males and other people in your society is to allow yourself to recognize that one, emotions are neither good or bad. They're just comfortable and uncomfortable based off of how we feel, right? So
Yeah.
your emotions are, not good and bad. It's your behavior when you have or how you use those emotions in your behavior. And the number
Yeah.
one coping mechanism for me, and I know this sounds real simple, there's so many people that don't sleep, right? I mean, what I mean by sleep is rest. There's so many people in this world that don't rest, sometimes because of environmental issues, or sometimes it's because of you as an individual. Do your very best to rest and rest your mind, rest your body, rest your spirit, and do your very best to, just slow down. Because when you slow down, you are better. You allow your body to heal, and while you're allowing your body to heal, you're allowing your spirit to mend and you're allowing your emotions to settle. So rest is the next thing that I would say. To help with coping. That first thing is to recognize that your emotions are neither good nor bad. And then that coping is to rest, right? Sleep, eat, drink water, right?
Yeah.
And that's where, and I do recognize in areas of the world where water is scarce. With that said, drink, what you need to drink and eat what you need to eat and exercise in the way that you need to exercise and sleep and or rest in the way that you need to rest.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is very wonderful. That was amazing. And we need to, as men, I think we just need to lead in wherever spaces that we are in. Yeah, we just need to lead. Yeah, and we need to give great examples to those that are looking at us. Yeah.
I got one more thing to say. So
Yes.
there's a study, and I can't remember the study. They say the study states that the children's health is dictated on the mother, right? The
Mm-hmm.
children's health is dictated on the mother. So if the mother is healthy and the mother does certain things, then it filters down to the children. Now, a lot of people would think that it's the male. This is where men come in. If a healthy male who is centered finds a healthy woman, you have a healthy family. So, in other
Yeah.
words, the male job is to be centered, is to be the leader, is to be open to protecting himself and those that he connect to, and that helps him find a healthy woman. And that healthy woman, while the male is leading, is being their co-pilot in leading the kids. And so I found that very interesting that at least it was in America
Mm-hmm.
that the health of the mother, dictated the health of the children. It wasn't the father, but the father
Wow.
job is to lead and to be centered and find a healthy wife or woman to have children with. I found that interesting.
So, in other words, the man has to have a sound mind to choose the right woman. Because once you mess up that cycle, the children will also go. That's an amazing study that I think I should read.
Yeah, that is is
Yeah.
is is interesting. But yeah, as a male, we have to lead and we have to be centered within ourselves so that we can have and connect with other people,
Mhm.
that are centered by proxy. You connect with a woman who is centered, and that woman and you two have a family, and that family is led well. Not
Yeah.
perfectly, but well. There's a difference.
Yeah. So I think it is important that seriously men take on the responsibility. Our pastor always tells us that. in the event that men don't take on their positions to lead, women will rise up. Yeah, women will rise up and they will lead in our in our place. And when women lead in our place, it will neutralize the man.
It it definitely does. It messes up certain
Yeah,
mental health and struggles within males. You are
yeah,
100% right about that.
yeah, exactly. And so you end up realizing that now men are not are not appearing in such spaces.
Right. Right.
They will not appear in such spaces because they will have to find a place where they will dominate. But and yet wherever they go, they don't want to take up their positions. So I think it is important that one, we learn how to regulate our emotions, how to deal with stress, how to deal with anxiety, so that we can have a clear mind, so that we can be able to lead and make the right decisions basically in our lives.
You
Yeah.
got that right. I agree with you.
Yes. Otherwise, thank you so much for all the wisdom that you have shared. We have used our time very well. Yeah, and yes, and we are going to have this up in a very short time and be able to share it with the rest of the world so that people can get this wisdom and also pass it on to others. Thank you so much, Eric. I'll let I'll let you go so that you can attend to other things today.
All right, you take it easy.
All right. Thank you so much. See you next time.